So I am one of the staff that came over when we started the project. I was one of the first two hired. I've been coming back and forth to the UAE for about 7.5 years during design, development, construction, and then last year was asked to take on the position of general curator. So I moved permanently to Abu Dhabi last August.
So this is the first new SeaWorld park developed since San Antonio opened in 1988.
Correct.
And what have we learned in the decades since?
So this is such an amazing park because it is a total of almost 60 years of knowledge of the SeaWorld parks itself. I was lucky enough to actually open the SeaWorld San Antonio Park in 1988, so I've seen the progression. But all of this, when it comes to animal welfare, when it comes to enrichment, when it comes to habitat design, zoological lighting, water quality, veterinary care, everything that we do for the animals is what we've progressed, and this is an example of what we've learned the entire time. One of the things I'm really most proud of is the entire advanced animal lighting system that we've put together for each one of the realms. The guests that have gone to SeaWorld in the States have gone into Antarctica or the penguin encounter and seen that we have to adjust the lighting for those animals, but every animal here is inside. So we have to take the next step of that, and this system itself is truly advanced. It has UVA, UVB, full spectrum lighting. Our trainers can get a suntan in the summer. And we also have basking zones. Animals can self-select if they want to sit in a basking zone or they want to go into the shade. But those are the things that we've really learned on top of everything from a behavioral standpoint. But animal welfare is the key. It's the core to what we do. And that has everything to do with design and implementation, the quality of our zoological team. This team itself, we brought a number of staff over from the States, and then we have hired internationally some amazingly qualified people internationally. And we have a zoological team that I would put up against any other team in the world.
So one of the things I noticed about both the park and the Rescue and Research Center is the transparency. Almost everything is visible to the guest or to the visitor. Especially here in the parks, I noticed, for instance, at the Dolphin Lagoon and also at the Rocky Point with the sea lions, that scales are fully visible. People can see the checkups taking place with the animals.
Everything we do, we want to share with our guests. We want them to understand just what it takes to take care of our animals and how we do it. It also serves to help us create the next generation of marine scientists, of marine animal veterinarians, of animal trainers, aquarists, aviculturists, educators. If they're seeing what we're doing and how we do it, there's nothing that we hide. We take care of our animals to the best ability that we can, and we're always learning. They're teaching us as well, but we want our guests to go on that journey with us. We want them to see the equipment that we have and how that changes as new equipment comes out. We want them to see the procedures we go through. Like you mentioned, having the scales out there, something we all do on a daily basis, some of them probably less than others, but we weigh ourselves to see how physically healthy we are. Our animals do the same thing. So it's getting the guests to truly understand how much animal welfare means to us and how important it is to do it the best way possible.
So one of the questions that I often get, especially when I told people I'm coming to the park, is do they have killer whales? Do they have belugas? Because these are two common animals at the SeaWorld parks in the United States. Considering that neither one is here, what do you consider the keystone species that you're profiling?
So our looking at the parks itself, and those decisions and design were made a number of years ago by leadership, and we were going to go a little bit different direction. But if you go back to the beginning of SeaWorld San Diego, beginning of the company, there were no killer whales, there were no beluga whales. The dolphin was the icon species, and that is one of our major icon species for the tropical realm is bottlenose dolphins. Walrus in Arctic is one that I'm truly proud of because of the effort we have put into design for the walrus habitat. It's actually a huge habitat that can be separated because in the wild, male walruses leave for 5 months of the year and go off in a male group, and then come back and meet the females during breeding season. We can simulate that here, but it's this space we've had. So each realm is going to have its iconic animals. Antarctica, 6 species of penguins, will be incredible for the guests to see, but it's really transporting those guests to each one. So I wouldn't think we'd be able to have an iconic animal itself. I think it's iconic realms. So you're looking behind you with the endless ocean. the largest marine life aquarium in the world, 20 meters deep. All the different species in here, but the habitat itself is the true icon.
And in terms of the species that were chosen, how much are you profiling the regional species versus others that could be found throughout the globe?
When our guests come into SeaWorld Abu Dhabi, they will enter into the Abu Dhabi ocean realm. And then when they leave for the day, they will come back through the Abu Dhabi ocean realm, paying homage to the region. We want everybody to understand the rich ocean culture in Abu Dhabi, between trade, ocean trade, between pearl diving, between also fishing. Everything has been around the coast itself. So that region itself will highlight the local species. We have the Arabian Gulf habitat, which will be native Arabian Gulf fish. Also be able to handle rescued sea turtles that need more care, rescued dugong that may need to be with us for a longer time. That's a way to display those animals. In addition, we have interactive touch tanks for the guests with some of the species that are native in the region here, right along the edge of the water. And then we'll also have habitats for rescued sea snakes. So if we have sea snakes that need to be rehabilitated for a long time, we can actually put them in habitats. So before you ever start your adventure around the world, you are understanding what your home is here in Abu Dhabi. Then once you get to the one ocean, you get to choose your adventure. You can do endless ocean, tropical ocean realm, Rocky Point for sea lions, Arctic realm for walrus and sea otters and puffins, or Antarctica for penguins. And then you finish your adventures and you come back through the Abu Dhabi ocean realm.
And we have divers behind you as well.
One of the things we consistently do, you could probably imagine, with the largest single acrylic order in the world and the massive amount of acrylic here, we are diving all the time. We are diving and cleaning windows and consistently checking out the animals. One of the funny things people don't think about, but if a shark needs a checkup, but we don't need to handle a shark, we just need to look at it to make sure it's okay, we have to put our veterinarians in scuba gear. And they have to go down with us to be able to observe the animal, because you want to spend time. You don't want to force it into an area. You want it to come voluntarily. But if it's just going to be a checkup, our veterinarians will hop and dive gear and join us.
So this is, in one way, an entertainment park. It's also an educational park, so we could use the term edutainment, I'm sure. But how do you influence the next generation of veterinarians, aviculturists, aquarists, animal curators, trainers? How does visiting this park, what kind of interaction would they have with people in those professions?
One of the amazing things when we started SeaWorld Abu Dhabi was the challenge at the very beginning was we want SeaWorld here to teach our people about the oceans. Teach, education, first core of what we're doing. So building that around education and animal welfare and conservation, having those messages and having those staff members, those careers available for children to talk to. So we will have our veterinarians or our animal trainers or our aquarists or aviculturists out alongside our educators at times during the day and answering all those questions. The Animal Care Center is completely transparent. It's all glass. So every room we have, whether it's treatment, surgery, radiology, advanced imaging, we have a CT machine that is designed just for the animals in our care here. On top of that, all of our labs are full glass, so you can see all of the work that's being done. And what that does is allows people to become curious. They want to know more, and that way we can answer those questions and give young kids the idea of what it's going to take to do this and coach them along the way.
Now this is within the EMEA. So in terms of being a Middle Eastern North Africa park, essentially, are there any outreach to local universities, to colleges, to bring in interns or graduates to work here in the park?
Our education program is very vibrant. It's very much, it will mimic exactly what you see in the SeaWorld parks in the U.S., but on a grander scale because of where we are. Connecting with all of the different organizations that manage the school groups in the UAE is what we started on very quickly. Working on a partnership with New York University, working on other partnerships. The Zayed University has the vet school here, so we work on veterinary interns, but we are going to be a resource for the region when it comes to all of these careers. One of the main goals when we started this is to come in and complement the region. We know there's a lot of really good work that's already being done. We can bring our 60 years of knowledge in all of those different disciplines to the region and add to what's already being done currently.
Now, you've been in the marine park industry for quite some time, going back to Palos Verdes and Marineland of the Pacific, and then SeaWorld, and of course Bush Entertainment, now back to SeaWorld, of course. Over that time period, have you seen things that did not work well, that definitely the industry kind of did away with? And also, in terms of best practices, were any best practices developed for this park specifically that might be utilized in other facilities?
So this is my 39th, going into my 39th year in the zoological industry, going in my 35th year at SeaWorld Parks and Entertainment. I've been able to work with so many incredible people. I think that one of the biggest messages that I've seen along the way is that we have to be out front all the time. We have to lead. We have to make sure the guests and the general public and everybody knows how important the ocean is and knows why we have to care for it and learns about all these animals. So I think the biggest lesson learned is being proactive in everything we do. SeaWorld's been very good at that. Took a little bit of a downturn for a little while, but we're coming back and doing that. When it comes to best practices within the parks, everything we've learned has been poured into this. So whether it's, again, the lighting system, our ALSS, our animal life support system, all of that is as advanced as possible. So it is looking at how we care for those animals in the best possible way, but share that with the guests, share that with the general public. So everything we learn is also shared with the industry. Now that we're open, I can talk about this place. I can share this with my peers. I can talk about the lighting system. I can talk about what we created for animal life support. I can talk about the habitat design, and I can share that with other zoological facilities because our ultimate goal is all animals benefit, not just ours.
Rob, thank you so kindly.
You're welcome, Joe. Thank you.